Year 5, I hope you're all well and keeping yourself safe. Can you believe that we're almost halfway through this term? Halfway through, time is definitely flying. So, to kind of end the half term on a bit of a high, we're changing the format of doing home learning next week. So make sure you look out for how things are changing and you know exactly how to access the home learning as of next week. For this week though, the format's staying the same. I'll be introducing the maths to you. Miss Reynolds has got some PE, Mrs Hazel is introducing the English, and Miss Gwinnett will be introducing the Humanities for us. Okay, for maths this week, we are focusing on decimal numbers. Now you've had a bit of an introduction so far over the past 2 weeks, but this week I want to see if you can really understand the value of each digit in the decimal number. So, if the number might be, here we go, 0.821, the question might say to you, what is the value of the 8 in the number? So if you've got a place value grid, this might be quite useful for you to use this week. We will mainly be focusing towards the end or towards our decimal values. Okay, if you haven't got one, don't worry, you could quite easily sketch one out on a piece of paper like we'd normally do in class or on a whiteboard if you've got a whiteboard. Okay, so if the question is saying what is the value of 8 in the number, we have got ones, tenths, hundredths and thousandths. So the value of the 8 is quite clearly a tenth. Okay, similarly, the question might say to you which digit is in the thousandths column. So again, we've got ones, tenths, hundredths, thousands. So the digit which is in the thousandths column is a 1. On your activity for this week, you have got a whole array of numbers which you will need to kind of look through very carefully and then put them in the correct row on the table, which will be on your sheet. Once you have done that, we are going to move on to trying to sort out your numbers into a Venn diagram. And if you can't remember what a Venn diagram looks like, here's one I prepared earlier. Alright, so this is your Venn diagram, and the sorting criteria that we have for this Venn diagram is 7 in the tenths column and a 4 in the hundredths column. Yeah, okay, let's take a look at that. So quite simply, using the decimal numbers on your sheet, you'll have to take a look. And if the number has got a 7 in the tenths column, the number obviously needs to be placed in this circle. If the number has got a 4 in the hundredths column, it needs to go into this circle. But if the decimal number has got a 7 in the tenths column and a 4 in the hundredths column, it needs to go into the middle of your Venn diagram. Okay? If the number that you've got hasn't got a 7 in the tenths column, or it hasn't got a 4 in the hundredths column, it needs to go somewhere outside your diagram because it doesn't fit our sorting criteria. Let me just quickly show you an example, okay? So I've got I don't know if you can see that, 0.74, so that's going to go in the middle because that is got the 7 in the tenths column and a 4 in the hundredths column. I've got 0.27, now the 7 isn't in the tenths column, and there isn't a 4 in the hundredths column. The 7's in the hundredths column, so that's going to go outside the sorting circle, the Venn diagram. I've got 0.44, and I can see I've got a 4 in the hundredths column, so that will go into the hundredths side. 0.75, again, I've got a 7 in the tenths column, so that will go onto that side. And then I've got a 0.43, and again, that doesn't fit any of my sorting criteria, so that will be put outside the circle too. Hoping that's not sticking now. Oops. Got 2 bits which are flying. So that's an example of a completed Venn diagram. Okay, if that's too easy for you, which I think for some of you that will be relatively straightforward, there is another Venn diagram on your sheet, and this one has got 3 sorting criteria. So this one is definitely a little bit trickier, and it will involve you to think a little bit more carefully as to where you need to be placing your numbers. I'll have a quick demo ready for you. Just give me a second. So my sorting labels are 8 in the tenths column, a 0 in the hundredths column, and a 4 in the thousandths column. Here's my first number, 0.205, and that has got a 0 in the hundredths column, so that's going to go there. My next one, 0.809, that has got 8 in the tenths column, so that's going to go there. That one has got 0.843. Now, I have got an 8 in the tenths column and a 4 in the hundredths column, but not a 3. So that's going to go 8 in the tenths, that will go there. I've got 0.411, which means I've got 4 in the thousandths column, and so on. I'll do one more, which is this one. I've got 0.804, and I've got an 8 in the tenths column, a 0 in the hundredths column, and a 4 in the thousandths column. So I've kind of hit jackpot. So that one is going to go right in the middle. So there's a bit of an example there. So clearly where the circles overlap is where the number needs to have both of those digits in the correct column. So if there's an 8 in the tenths column and a 0 in the hundredths column, that number needs to go in that circle there, that little bit there, okay? If it's got an 8 in the tenths column and a 4 in the thousandths column, the number will need to go there. If it's got a 4 in the thousandths column and a 0 in the hundredths column, it needs to go into that little box there, and that one's kind of self-explanatory. If none of the numbers fit the criteria, they again need to go on the outside of your Venn diagram. Okay. Once you've sorted out your numbers into your Venn diagram, there is obviously a problem-solving activity for you to have a go at doing too. Now, it's not linked to the decimal work, so I just thought I'd give you something a little bit different. So I have a go with the problem-solving activity. Again, there are 2 activities which I have included. Choose whichever one you feel like doing. And once you've completed it, or do both of them, that'll be amazing. Do both of them, send it in to us on the Year 5 email address. Okay, right, it's my turn to now hand over to Miss Reynolds, who will explain to us all about the PE that she would like you to have a go at completing this week. But before I do that, as it's our last home video together, I really wanted to treat everyone. We've done some good things in the video. I've had a thought. Cakes, everyone likes cakes. So I think I'm going to be passing on some cakes to the rest of the Year 5 staff, and hopefully they'll leave one for you guys right at the end too. So, Miss Reynolds, I'll take one. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Look delicious, Mrs. Patel. Thank you very much. Hi Year 5. Hope you're still keeping safe and well. This week we'd like to test how accurate your throw is. You're going to need some empty bottles, empty tins, or use loo rolls. You're going to have to place them on a surface, whether it be a wall outside or a table inside the home. You're also going to need some socks, the fresh ones. So make your socks into a ball. That there is your ammunition. Your job is to stand 3 big steps away from the table or wall with 5 balls of socks. See how many you can knock down with those 5 throws. You get 5 points for every bottle, tin or loo roll you knock down. Let us know how you get on. If you'd like to challenge yourself, you could step further away from the table or bench or wall. Also, you could put some water into the empty containers so they're harder to knock over. Have 6 goes, a total of 30 throws. Let us know how you get on. Can't wait to find out. Take care and see you very soon. Now, Mrs. Hazel, I hope you're hungry. One for me.
Thanks, Miss Reynolds. My favourite. I'll pop these down, otherwise I'm going to get terribly distracted. Hi Year 5, you must be here to find out about this week's English home learning. Well, once again you have come to the right place. This week your teachers have given you a 3rd extract from chapter 2 of Stick of the Dump. Once again we'd like you to read this extract through extremely carefully, then answer a set of 8 comprehension questions which follow it. Again, 2 of the questions require you to use the APE strategy, which is to answer, to prove and to explain by quoting directly from the text. The next activity that we would like you to do is to create an emotions graph. Now we have had a go at creating this type of graph before in school when we were doing our work on Pompeii. Okay, what we'd like you to do is to read the extract through very carefully. Then we would like you to draw the axis. Here on the y-axis at the top we've got positive emotions, and at the bottom we've got negative emotions. And along the bottom of the axis, what we'd like you to do is we'd like you to pick out the key events from the text, okay? And then you're going to consider the emotions that Barney is feeling at these key points. So, for example, one of the events from the text is where Barney is planning to play a trick on Stig. So I'm going to put here, so Barney planning trick on Stig. And at this point, he's actually feeling quite excited. So I'm going to plot myself across there and I'm going to write above it that he's feeling excited. Next, within the extract, he actually plays the trick on Stig where he dangles the carrots down and tries to use them as fingers to knock on Stig's front door. So this here would be playing the trick. Now Barney's emotions, they quickly change from feeling excited to actually feeling at this point, ooh, a little bit anxious. He's not quite sure how Stig is going to react. Have Stig's got sense of humours? Is he going to be furious about it, or is he going to laugh along with the joke? Barney doesn't know at this point, so that excitement soon turns to anxiety. Once you've picked out all these key events and you've plotted the different emotions, what we'd like you to do is to use your ruler and to join up the points to create your emotion graph. Now I cannot wait to see what your graphs look like, so good luck with that. The next thing your teachers would like you to look at is the use of apostrophes for singular and for plural possession. Singular means one thing, so one person or one thing. So here, the word boy, the noun boy, that's singular, it means one. If I wanted to show that the shoes belong to the boy, I would write apostrophe S, boy's shoes. Plural nouns mean more than one person or thing. So here, the word boys is plural, meaning more than one. If I wanted to show that the shoes belong to all of these boys, then I would write an apostrophe after the S. I don't need to write another S afterwards, it is not needed. Okay. On your PDF, which is below this video, there is a table, and what we'd like you to do is to copy and complete it. So you're going to be looking at changing a singular noun into a plural noun, and you're going to show apostrophes for both singular and plural possession in there as well. Once you have done that, you can craft some sentences based upon any of the words which are in the table. So good luck with that. If you cast your mind back to the beginning of the story, you will remember that everybody warned Barney that if he got too close to the edge of the chalk pit, the ground would give way and inevitably you'd fall in. Well, Barney didn't listen, did he? And the ground did give way and he did fall into the chalk pit. What we'd like you to do this week is to design a warning sign which is going to tell everybody about the dangers of the chalk pit. We would like you to include relevant information, pictures, symbols, make sure that the headings are eye-catching and they draw the reader's attention. If you check out the PDF below this video, there are a couple of examples of warning signs that you might like to magpie some ideas from. Okay, that's it for your English learning this week. I am going to take a cupcake to have with a cup of tea. Right, are you ready, Miss Gwyneth?
Thanks, Miss Hazel. Oh, they've shrunk. Oh, never mind. Anyway, hi Year 5. I'm here to tell you all about your humanities learning for this week. So, this week, we'd like you to do a little bit more investigation into the Stone Age, but this time you're going to be looking at what the Stone Age people would wear and what kind of jewellery they might have worn too. Now, we'd like you to find out why it was that they chose to wear clothes, why it was that they chose to create jewellery, and what were the clothing and jewellery made from. As you are doing your investigation, you can organise your ideas around a picture of a Stone Age person. I've included some in the document below as kind of a template, but you don't need to print it out. You can draw your own person, you really don't need the template. However, I've chosen to use the template just to help me organise it a little bit. So as I found out more about my Stone Age person, I've added the information around them using arrows to highlight where the information is relevant. So for example, I found out that jewellery was worn by Stone Age people, and it was made from shells, bones and other natural materials, and they've been dated back to 75,000 years ago. So the more things you find out about, the more you can add to your picture. I know I've got some more work to do because my person hasn't got any shoes. Surely Stone Age people would have found shoes or made shoes out of something. So I'm going to do a bit more investigation to find out what. After you have found information about what they wore, we'd like you to have a go at creating some of your very own Stone Age jewellery. There are a couple of ways in which you can do this, and I'll link those in the document below. But one of the ways that I want to show you, and the way that we've done it in our key worker provision this week at school, is we've created paper beads. What you'll need is some paper, a pair of scissors, a pencil, and some glue. Now, with my piece of paper, I can choose any kind of a colour I like. I've stuck to something more neutral because I think my Stone Age jewellery would have been made with natural materials, so I want to keep it as natural looking as possible. I've used my scissors then to create a long strip of paper. This one is in the shape of a really long triangle. That'll give my bead some kind of added texture and a bit of definition. Once I have got my long strip of paper, I'm going to put my pencil at the top. Then I'm going to take my glue and add glue all the way down the long strip of paper. In that way, I can start to fold my piece of paper around my pencil, so rolling it up carefully. And as I go, the glue will ensure that the bead all sticks together. So I keep on rolling and rolling and rolling all the way to the very, very end. Now, the longer my piece of paper is, the thicker my bead will be. And the wider the base of my triangle is, the longer my bead will be. So if I want some really short beads, I want to have a really short base in my triangle. And if I want some really thick beads, my piece of paper has got to be very long. But now, once it's all glued together, I can slide my pencil out, and that gives me my very first bead. You can add these beads then to a piece of string, and you can start to create your necklace. Now, lots of the children in the key worker group this week chose to make different coloured beads and to make a pattern on their necklaces. So I'm really excited to see what you do and how you create your own Stone Age jewellery. Now, time for that muffin, I think. So, oh, looks delicious. But I think I've got one left, so one for you maybe? Keep you going in this home learning that you've got to complete over the next week. So good luck everybody, enjoy.